Namaskaram and a very good evening to all of you. My name is Karishma and I am your BARC educator at Unacademy Plus. I am here today with a very interesting session. So, we usually do sessions on reading comprehension. You can check out those on the playlist, which is there on the Unacademy Catalyst channel. Do subscribe to the Unacademy Catalyst channel so that you do not miss all these updates. But today I am talking about something very important that is usually overlooked. What are the points where we go wrong when we are preparing for verbal ability and reading comprehension? What are those areas that become impediments, the road blockages in our journey? So, we're going to discuss them, and we still have more than 6 months. So, I really hope that this session reaches the places it should and it helps all of you to work on these errors so that you can ensure yourself a good score and, of course, a good percentile. Let's get started. Before I begin, a very quick reminder that I am taking a special class every Saturday. 22nd class is is at 8 a.m. Otherwise, the usual timing for the special classes is 12:30 noon. All right. So this Saturday it's 8, but otherwise it's 12:30 noon. So the first error that I'm going to talk about today is something as simple as, do you use the dictionary enough? Often we do not tend to use the dictionary because we are just not habitual of doing it, or maybe we don't like doing it, or we are just too lazy and we just Google things, we look at the first meaning which is written, and then it's over. So my suggestion to you is that despite the fact that Google is a search engine that gives you entries from Oxford, you use the proper link from Oxford, which is known as Lexico, powered by Oxford. And the link reads something like lexico.com/en, where en stands for English because it also has other languages. This is the standard link and it gives you synonyms. Yeah, it gives you meanings of all categories. So there are words with multiple meanings. All right. So if you open a word as simple as hang, a hang has multiple meanings. And when you open hang, you will also see that there are a lot of phrases of hang. For example, not getting a hang of it, or hang up, or hang down, or hang over, which is your favorite, I'm sure. So there are phrasal verbs given as well. Apart from this, you have an audio button for the pronunciation. So if you want to improve your spoken English, I'm sure you want to work on your pronunciation as well. The origin or the etymology, as we call it, of the word is mentioned, which will help you in remembering the word. There are grammar notes mentioned that most people just skip. Most people who use the dictionary think dictionary means word meaning. No, it doesn't. How do you read a grammar note? For example, do a little exercise after you are done watching this session. Open the word fly. Okay, simple. Now, a fly is also a noun because we are talking about a house fly, right? And the insect. So that's a noun. It's also a verb. So when I say that I want to fly high in my career, so then it's an intransitive verb. Intransitive verb means it will not be immediately followed by an object. Okay. It also behaves as a verb with object, which is a transitive verb. We have discussed this at length in the grammar class, and there was a CAT 2007 question based on this concept. So if you recall, so transitive verb is I fly kites, or I'm a pilot, so I fly planes. Okay, I fly commercial planes. So there is a lot of difference in the usage of words. And unless you know the grammar behind them, you can't really make sentences out of it. I often see that most people who are preparing for CAT and want to improve their spoken and written English end up just memorizing, blatantly. Oh, this is the meaning that I read, so okay, now I'll use this. And then they end up using it incorrect. Why? Because you did not go through the example sentences that are given in the dictionary. You did not concentrate on whether the sentence is a noun, a verb, and adjective. See, if you do not know कि भाई संज्ञा, sarnaam or visheshan, if you do not know noun, verb, and adjective, how will you use it in a sentence? You can't use it. You need to know, for example, that the word schadenfreude is an abstract noun, and it's the pleasure that you experience at others' misfortunes. You can't be making a sentence like I am schadenfreuding. No, it's incorrect. You can't be using it as a word. So that's the first thing. Please start religiously, really using the dictionary. To motivate you a little, students often ask me that how do you prepare for vocab? A, I'm very passionate about it. B, I can't skip words because if I skip words, then I will not be able to teach. It's against my profession. I won't be able to grow. And there's no age. So it's been 10 years since I started teaching, and I'm still learning new words. Also, I'm so passionate about it that when I'm watching a series, for example, and on Netflix or Prime or whatever, and there is something that I did not know, I will pause it there, open Lexico on my phone, check the meaning, rewind 10 seconds, reread the dialogue, enjoy the dialogue completely, cherish how good the author of the dialogue is, how good the script writer is, and then I'll go ahead. And I must tell you that my husband is also adjusted to my ways. You got to be passionate about it if you really want to see an improvement. Nothing comes easy. So the dictionary should be your first most browsed website on your phone, on your laptop or desktop. That's one thing which is compulsory. Even if you are a 2022 aspirant, this advice I am sure will help you. And another second part of this advice is that let's say you use a dictionary. It's a very common question where people will say, oh, there are too many difficult words, so should I use a dictionary in the middle, or then my flow breaks? And then there are students who will say that if I don't if I don't use a dictionary in the middle, then I don't get a hang of what is written. So what do I do? So now my answer is it's your choice. So if you are a person who freaks out at new words like me and you want to learn every damn word out there, you can pause your reading or your watching, consult the dictionary, come back and read. Now this usually happens when you have at least a certain level. If you're extremely weak and you think that no, out of one paragraph I have at least 7 new words, which means you have picked up something way above your level. So pick up something of a lower level first. Develop that vocabulary where you're getting like 2 words maybe in a paragraph. And once you are at a certain level, then you can up your game. It's completely your choice whether you want to open the dictionary in the middle, in between the article, or you want to do it in the end. But there's one thing that you must do, and I'm sure nobody does this unless I ask them to. In fact, even after I ask them to do it, I think 80% students don't listen. So for the sake of the 20% karma yogi students who actually listen to me, you should always reread the article where you found a lot of difficult words after using the dictionary. So what I'm saying is, let's say you read an editorial of 300 words. I'm not talking about a 3000 word article. I'm talking about a 300 400 word article. The RC standard length in the exam is 400 to 500 words. You open the dictionary after the article, you found the meanings, you wrote them down. After you are done with it, did you reread the article and saw how have those words been used and what does the article now actually mean? When you do that, A, you're better equipped to use the words on your own. B, you understand the passage in the correct light in which it has been written by the author. So do not forget to reread. So I hope you will be able to avoid this error from now on, and it will help you grow definitely in your preparation. Let's go ahead. Mistake number 2, revise the class contents. Wherever you are studying, whether you're going to an institute offline, whether you are doing self-studies, whether you are taking personal tutoring from anyone, or you are an Unacademy student, do you revise the class contents? If your answer is yes, then my question to you is when? So do you revise the class contents in 24 hours? That's my question. A very common thing that occurs otherwise is I taught you deductive reasoning in November, in December, and now it's May. Students who did not revise it, or students who forgot practicing the questions, or just left practicing, just because my course was over, so you thought it's over. Aren't you struggling in the class now? You are. Which is why it's extremely important to revise. What happens is if you revise everything within 24 hours, whatever you've done, QADI, LRDA, it stays with you for a longer time. It helps you retain it better. If you just do the class and you think you are done and you're working very nice and you're very happy with yourself, very satisfied that my preparation is nice, you will end up proving yourself wrong very soon, because you will see that you don't remember a thing from what you did 6 months ago or 3 months ago. So your exam is still 6+ months away. Are you revising is my question to you. And when you are revising, it should be in 24 hours. Then there is another extreme to it which I am facing now from students' end, and that is you become nervous. Let's say you come to a DR class and you realize, oh my god, I didn't revise, so I don't remember a thing. You did a grammar practice course with me last week and you realize that, oh my god, I can't remember a single rule. Which proves that A, you have not revised, and B, then you go down that rabbit hole where you are busy revising the older classes and you skip the new classes. That's another extreme of the pendulum. Please stop oscillating between the two extremes. Adopt the golden mean path. You can't keep revising, okay? You have to move ahead. You don't have to skip, but you have to level up. You need to solve RC questions. You can't keep revising the strategy. कब तक revise करते रहोगे भैया? You have to up your game. If you've done a parajumble course, revision will not help you. You have to practice parajumble questions. Please remember, you are taking an aptitude exam. This is not school ka English literature where you will revise the word meanings, revise the name of the author, name of the poet, blah blah blah. No, it's aptitude, which means it should be there in your blood. You should know how to do those questions. So revision will work only in certain aspects where vocabulary, roots and words can be revised. They can be put into categories. I've taught you how to put words in categories. Grammar rules can be revised. Deductive reasoning rules, if you're doing tick cross method, can be revised. Critical reasoning definitions can be somewhat revised, but after you practice, you should do away with it. It's not required. It's like, if you're a cook, do you keep revising recipes? No, you just cook and it becomes muscle memory. That's the level of expertise you guys are looking at, isn't it? So you need to maybe revise a lot in the beginning, but gradually you can't keep revising. So please keep both the extremes in mind. Do not be a person who does not revise, and do not be a student who just keeps revising and is scared of moving ahead because you think you've forgotten everything. So don't let that fear get the better of you. That's mistake number 2. Let's go ahead. Mistake number 3, most common and the most detrimental, the most dangerous, okay, the most perilous. Do you accept answers in VARC just like that? So if your answer out of A, B, C, D is C, okay, and the teacher or the book or the test's answer is A, most students will just agree, okay, yeah, मुझे तो पहले ही लग रहा था A is the answer. I thought initially itself that A is the answer, so no. It's okay, and you just accept it and you go ahead. What do you do in QADILR? In QADILR, you keep solving the question till your answer is, let's say for instance, if your answer is 3 and you are able to calculate it as 4, right? You will have to keep solving the question unless your answer is 3. Why don't you do that for VARC? Remind yourself, I'm not doing English literature. I'm not taking a grammar test. I am taking an aptitude test. If my answer is C and the examiner's answer, the author's answer, the teacher's answer is A, I should know why is it A and why is it not C. It's extremely important to know that why are the remaining answers wrong. A very good technique therefore is ask yourself every single time, okay, when you do a VARC question, ask yourself why the remaining options are wrong. Because unless you know what makes them wrong, you will not be able to mark the answer. You should know what is it that is not working. Only then will you be able to do it right. Right? I usually use cooking analogies in my classes. So here's another one. When I was learning how to make a chapati, my chapatis used to get dried. So they would stay good for like an hour in the casserole. After that, you can't eat it. It becomes hard and dry. I had to actually, be after my mom's life and do all the adjustments with the gas stove to finally realize that I was not adjusting the gas stove flame well. So if it's being cooked on too high, it becomes cooked for that time, okay, but then after some time it will feel very dry and chewy. So unless I know that high flame can also be a cause of error, how will I better my chapatis? So unless you know that why is C not the answer, why is B and D not the answer, you will not be able to mark A as the answer. And I must tell you a trade secret. Usually as teachers, we do not want everybody to come up with questions in every single question that why is this not the answer, why is this not the answer, why is this not the answer. Which means a lot of responsibility lies on you as an aspirant, as a student, to sit down and to figure out what is the difference between these options and where am I going wrong. You may have to use Google, you may have to use the dictionary, you may have to take help from a senior. You have to be a little Atmanirbhar, okay? A lot Atmanirbhar, I would say. After all, you want to be a manager, isn't it? So you become Atmanirbhar. Sit with those questions, compare the options, read them again and again unless you can find a difference. And then decide, okay, why is X better than Y? And if you still don't get it, go and approach a teacher. What are we here for? Now, when I say this invites a lot of problem for me because then you are going to be after me. But I think that's okay. That's my job. It's my job to guide you. So please, in the class also, I always do this. I always tell you why are the remaining options not right or why are they worse than what I have marked. So you should be very careful. Most people are like, okay, my answer is correct. Now they will chill. Now they will want to type stupid things in the chat box. No, it's wrong. Similarly, in an offline class, you become laid back. You start using your phone. Don't do that. If you've gone correct, listen to the teacher. Is your reason correct or was it a Was it a speculation? Was it just a conjecture, a guess? Check that your reasons are right, which means your foundation is solid. So please do not accept answers just like that. That does not mean that you should be fighting with your teacher. It just means that you should up your research game and convince yourself about where did you go wrong. Okay? So that's another error. Do not accept answers blindly. Okay, the answer is DBAC. Mine was DABC. Oh, all right. I did DNC right. So let's go ahead. Look, this is right. And then you go on. Oh, you're never going to improve that way. Never, trust me. By the way, there's amazing offer going on at Unacademy where you pay for 6 months and you get 1 month free, which means you will be with us till CAT and thereafter for a few days, so we can guide you a little for Snap and Zat as well. Do try availing this offer. So subscribe to Unacademy Plus and use my code Karishma Live for a 10% discount. And I tell you, the teachers will help you on your journey and you will not regret spending this money. Mistake number 4. Do you keep looking for the correct answer? Now this is a hangover from school. So at school you had one correct answer and the rest were incorrect. In life also we have this approach. मैं ही ठीक हूँ. I am the only one who's correct and everybody else is wrong. Whether this is an exam or life, this doesn't work. In QA, DI and LR where calculations are involved and the questions are objective, the answer is 3. It cannot be 3.02 either. It cannot be 0.03. It cannot be 2.9. In VA and RC, it's not the case. In VA RC, you can have more than one correct answer. You can have all poor answers, all incorrect. Maybe you think, oh, none of the answers is right. I'm sure you've experienced this in a para summary question. You read the paragraph, you really like it. You make a summary in your mind, you go to the options, you're like, hey, what is this? If I were to write a summary, I would write a better one. Has this happened with you? Which means you're not convinced with the answers. So then you have to shift your approach and you have to start looking for the best of the available options. It's like you go on a dinner, you get invited to a dinner, okay? Dinner party. You go to the party and everything is your favorite. So you want butter chicken, it's there. You want butter paneer, it's there. You want Chinese, it's there. You want Asian, it's there. You want Thai, it's there. What do? You don't have to eat everything. If you eat everything, you will end up with a constipation or maybe a diarrhea. You have to choose what you like the best. Yeah? Similarly, if you get invited to a dinner party and the cuisine is lousy, you just hate it. Everything that you hate is put on the menu. What do? You still have to feed yourself. You will still look for the best answer. So that's what you have to learn. And in our classes, I'm constantly trying to teach you the skill of how to choose the best answer. Every class in itself is a lesson on how this needs to be done. So it's a skill that you develop gradually. So when I'm doing that for you in the class, you need to be supportive, you need to be attentive, and then I'm sure you will be able to do better. So please stop looking for the correct answer. Don't be too obsessed with it. Get rid of the school and college hangover. So that makes 4 mistakes. Also, before I proceed, if you're a 2021 student, I think a 6-month plan and you get a month free is ideal for you. It's just 2,700 something per month and you are getting a discount if you're using my code above that. If you're a 2022 student, it's good to start early. Why not give it 2 years and prepare well? Even if you're a beginner who's not so good, especially with English, which is a largely a language-based section and you need time to work hard on this, you should try this and it's really reasonable and you do get a discount on this as well. All those engineers out there, this is for you. I taught you in Para Jumble that nouns are followed by pronouns. Yeah? So you find the most popular word in this country is Ram, so let's pick him up. And then you find a sentence Ram. So you just think that, oh, this will come together. So you think that AC is a pair. No. This is known as oversimplification. I taught you that he will definitely come after Ram, which means it could be A, B, C, D. It could be A, C, B, D. It could be A, D, B, C. The point is that C will remain behind because you cannot use the pronoun before the noun. That does not mean that it will immediately come together. Most CAT aspirants are engineers and they want things to be very technical and logical. So they start making pairs like this, mandatory pair. Oh, Ram, oh, chalo, together. Ram, Sita, oh, together. Ram, he, together. Oh, don't do that, please. Please remember, you have to look at the questions from a linguistic point of view. You have to look at the question from the author's point of view. Is the author using language which is grammatically correct, obviously. So you have to think from the point of view of the author that author ने लिखा होता तो कैसा लिखा होता. If I were the author, how would I write it? Or let's pick up a better analogy. If the author has written it somewhere, how he or she must have written it. Okay, so you have to keep the larger linguistic picture in mind. You don't have to be extremely rigid about mandatory pairs and stuff. Please remember, it's a language based section, it's not just a calculation based section. It's very different from QADILR, and this is why most people find it difficult to master, and especially engineers find it difficult to master. Even the IIT people who are very good at QADILR because they've already prepared for it, they're very good at maths and stuff, they fail miserably when it comes to this section because they are not, probably some of them, not all of them, are not well read. Even if they are into reading, they can't distinguish between sentences. They tend to oversimplify it. So please don't look for simplistic answers. In the class also, this is a common error, and I sometimes do get angry because sometimes it gets too much when you keep asking me. But these two words are same, they'll come together. Oh, this noun, two nouns, they'll come together. These two pronouns, oh my god, there are no such rules like that. Language is flexible. Yes, there are rules, but please treat rules as rules. Please treat exceptions as exceptions. And please treat language as language. Do not be too logical with it. Do not take away the heart and soul of the language just by being too rational with it. You can't be extremely rational with language. So that's one mistake that most of you end up doing. Do not oversimplify things and try to learn mantras. Oh, this is how it happens in BA. Oh, this is how it happens whenever a question like this comes. If you adopt that mantra in your head, you're going to spoil your performance. So very, very important. A very, very common mistake that's more common than you think is 90% of the students think that, oh, I started in April. Oh, I'm starting in May. I started only in March. How do you expect me to take mocks in May? No, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to score 20 percentile. I'm scoring 30 percentile. No. My advice to you, start taking mocks now. It's May. Please take mocks. Even if you're a newcomer, whatever coaching you're taking, wherever you're preparing, please take mocks. You can also try full length mocks. I gave this little task to my students at Unacademy that you should take at least 2 to 3 full length mocks in the month of May. At least 2 if you're a new student. If you're an old student, then you should aspire for 4. In June, you should take at least 1 full length mock every week, which means 4. Right? In July and August, we are going to take maybe 6, and in July, we're going to also learn how to analyze mocks and improve our performance and study according to that analysis. So do not wait for syllabus completion to take mock tests, because in fact nothing is in the syllabus and everything is in the syllabus. What syllabus do you have for RC? Nothing. You can be good at RC if you're a good reader. You can be poor at RC despite being a good reader. Para jumbles, why can't you arrange sentences in a paragraph without the help of a teacher? You can. Give it a try. Even if you're scoring a low percentile, do not get bogged down by it. Be a karma yogi. Concentrate on what you can do, not on the results. The results will eventually follow. Be a person who is worried about the process, not worried about, concentrating on the process. Do not be too goal oriented. Kitna aayega, how much weightage, what will this fetch me, what is the advantage, what lies in this for me, why am I doing this? If you become too technical about things and you're focused and obsessed with the goal, you will not enjoy the process. And you will screw the process, to be honest. So it's important that you start taking mocks. The more mocks you take, the more tests you take, you realize that this is where I go wrong, this is where I need hard work, this is where I'm good, this is where my speed is less, this is where I need help from the teacher, this is where I can do group studies with my friends, this is where I don't have enough material and I need to buy a book. Only when you take a test, you'll be able to know that. Most people will come to the theory classes, skip the practice classes, and then they think that, oh, we are very well prepared. And then the moment they sit down for a mock and then they score miserably well, all hell's break loose. Demotivation, depression, dejection, rejection. I don't know what to do. This is screwed. I'm aspiring for the next year now. Oh, it's a rabbit hole all over again. Don't do that. Start taking mocks. Do not worry about results, not at least till May, June, July. Don't worry about results. Just keep taking tests and mocks. Keep taking tests and mocks and see how you're doing it. It's like a warm-up exercise for running a 4-kilometer marathon. Does the analogy make any sense to you? So you just warm up. You don't worry about, oh, how will this warm-up help me run a 4-kilometer race? I want to run 4,000 meters. This coach is stupid. No, trust your coach. Start taking mocks. Start taking tests. Start doing topic tests. Solve your worksheets. Finish your homework. Answer those questions. When you have those questions and you go wrong with options, see where am I going wrong. And then gradually one fine day sabera hoga. You will see that your scores will improve. Your percentiles will improve. What is important is how consistent you are. Did you give up or did you stay at it? That's all that matters. So you have to be very consistent. So that's, a list of the most common errors that students do for VARC. I am doing an RC intermediate course these days. Feel free to join me in a plus class. I'm doing CAT PYQs starting on Monday, May 24. Please feel free to join me here as well. Obviously, these questions will be from actual CAT papers, so there will be a certain level to it. So it's a revision class. If you're a newcomer at Unacademy, the grammar course for you is being launched on 1st of June. So please come there. You can skip the older recording. Also, Unacademy is taking a scholarship test every Sunday at 12 noon. So if you have not yet subscribed to Unacademy Plus, you can get yourself youth scholarships, more than 10% discounts. Try this test. Use my code Karishma Life to unlock the test. See how much you score and get yourself a greater discount and subscribe to the platform. Our next session will happen on the 24th, which is Monday. So I'll see you with an RC session. Whether or not you're a Plus subscriber, you can use Ask a Doubt feature to post your doubts on the platform and someone will get in touch with you to answer those questions. And that's all from me today. I hope you enjoyed this session. You learned what I wanted to teach you and you will correct these errors and emerge victorious. My best wishes to you for the day and your preparation. Thank you and take good care of yourselves amidst this chaotic pandemic. We all need good wishes, isn't it? Take care. Bye-bye.